Hey guys. Hey, what's up? It is 1:30 in the morning and I am bored. I know I could definitely be recording a Let's Play right now, but instead, I had a random idea. I just got done talking to my roommate who, like me, has worked at Six Flags previously. And we were just talking about the different rides because she's from Georgia, which there's a Six Flags in Georgia, and I was talking about the one that's in the DMV area. And at the end of our conversation, the apocalypse came up, and by any accounts, this isn't this. Yes, this was new for the 2012 season, but yeah, but I don't know. It's like I said, I'm just bored, and I just want to discuss really why this ride is a disappointment. Now, I'm pretty sure someone who's probably into engineering or physics or something, and it can probably explain why this ride is the way it is, but from a consumer standpoint, I'm gonna explain again why it sucks. So you have this idea for this ride, the Apocalypse, the Last Stand. The whole gimmick of it is, you're part of the last people. Whatever has brought civilization to its knees. You're part of the last few people, and like it says, go through the twisted remains of civilization. It's a great idea and a great name for a roller coaster. I mean, you got stuff like the volcano in King's Dominion, and I know I saw like a POV of the ride, and I mean just the appearance and everything. And I'm not sure if they do it anymore. They probably stopped or decreased it because of safety reasons. But I know at the very top of the volcano, it would shoot fire or something like that. Like, that's really cool. And the Apocalypse actually does something similar. They do it so when you're rounding one of the corners, and of course, they shoot it out so you just feel the heat. And then, ironically, right after, they actually shoot out a spray of water. So I don't know. I guess if you're feeling really hot, it's supposed to cool you off a bit. But the reason this ride is a disappointment is because at the core of it, it's a disappointment to its name. I mean, when I first got on this ride, I was still dealing with my fear of roller coasters. So and it was at nighttime too. And I think any ride, well, most rides, I'll say, can be more intimidating or more scary at night than they are during the day. So again, I'm still dealing with my fear of roller coasters. I had never been on a stand-up roller coaster before, so I'm like freaking out. I started to get on the ride, but then just before they lock the seats, I get out, and I'm standing off on the side, and I'm just contemplating. I got people that's like, yeah, you should get on, and so when that when that car left, and the next when they came back and they got off, I was like, okay, you know what, I'll try. And I actually loved it. The first time I got on this ride, I loved it. It was a thrill unlike anything I had ever felt before. Like I said, never been on a stand-up coaster. Like I said, I'm still like a newbie to coasters during this period, so it was really cool. Fast forward to the point where for those that are familiar with the Six Flags and DMV, I've, gotten on Mindy Racer, gotten on Joker's Jinx, gotten on Batwing, and most of all, as well as the two wooden coasters, the oldest one, can't remember the name right now, and the Roar. But most of all, I had actually gotten on the Superman. Now, for as many years as I've been to Six Flags, I swore up and down that I would never get on that ride because simply too tall. I mean, ironically, it's like I'm not necessarily scared of heights because I actually love getting on planes, but the thought of getting on that ride would actually make my stomach turn. Like, I would actually have a physical reaction at the thought of getting on this ride. Or even when my friends would play around and like try to act like they were walking me to the ride, I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. But yeah, this last summer I actually got on it, and right before I did, I was actually crying, like literally crying. And I wasn't gonna do it at first, but then when my friend, who actually debatably is probably more scared of roller coasters than I am, when she got on it and came back and said it looks worse than it actually is, I'm like, okay, if she can do this and actually say that it was, fun and it wasn't that bad, then I can do it. So I got on, and yeah, like, Superman is one of those rides where it'll, snap a picture of you, I think, after the first drop, I think. And I literally looked confused as it was coming down the drop. Because, it wasn't like it was bad or disappointment. It was just like, it was one of those things more so like, I can't believe I was, like, really scared. Like, it was, after you get over the initial drop, it's just like, you got it, and it's fun. But I know I seem to be getting off the point, but the point is, at this point where I've gotten on every other roller coaster in the park, at this point, I'm regularly riding these rides, and I get back on the Apocalypse. I think second or third time I still thought it was, pretty cool. I didn't have any feelings about it. But like maybe the fourth or fifth time, it was something kind of shifted. And again, this is after I've gotten on these bigger, faster rides. Because I think the Apocalypse only at most goes about 66 something, 60 something miles per hour. Superman goes like 75. But yeah, so I definitely noticed, I guess you'd say, the lack of speed versus the other ride. Plus, the issue with this ride is that it's incredibly short. Like, I'm not saying that the way it's built is bad. It's good. But it really could have afforded to be longer. And, I mean, again, I'm somebody who's probably an expert at physics or even an expert with rides can probably explain why this ride was built the way it was. But, and playing Roller Coaster Tycoon does not make me a master at physics or building roller coasters. But honestly, the rule of physics still kind of applies in that game, because honestly, if you're building a lift, and let's say, you have your lift and then you have your drops, and basically, if you know how, if you're on a roller coaster and, you after the first lift, which, it's actually chains pulling you up, after that point, it's releasing you, and it's all gravity and G-force and all that stuff. And, you might go up a slight curve, but basically the whole point is you have enough momentum to go up that curve, or, whatever, or even go through a loop. So it's like, it could have been longer, they could have, and maybe it was also a matter of they were working around a certain amount of space, because they had knocked down, I think it was a water ride, a pirate water ride. I actually forgot what it was called, but they actually knocked down a ride to replace it with the Apocalypse. So it might have also been, the space they were working with. But honestly, for all of that, if it could have meant this thing being bigger and honestly more, dare I say, intimidating, I'd say they could have moved it over a bit, because there's actually this space. There's actually a good amount of space, like towards the back or towards the side, where you basically have all this grassy area, and as far as I know, there's not really anything over there except like there's kind of a driveway for the maintenance people, but it's nothing really over there, and I'm pretty sure they could have expanded it back or to the side a bit more. It's just that this roller coaster, and I've even heard other guests say this, that this roller coaster was really a huge letdown. Like, they hyped this ride up so much when they were building it, and when it was premiering, and to some people they liked it, like mainly kids who are tall enough to get on it and that type of thing. Like, I think honestly, when when you're younger and shorter, even, like, certain things of course seem bigger and faster and things like that, but when you're an adult, like, yeah, it's just, and it kind of hurt after I got on it, and I really, started to feel this way, that I still had to encourage people to get on this ride simply because that's part of what, you do. But it's just like I said, it was just a disappointment. Like, it had such a good premise, and the thing is, they did a good job with like the decor, the setup around the ride and everything, like even through the queue line, like it's great. It works with the ride perfectly. But when you have a name like Apocalypse, you expect a lot more. Just like if you were to go to Kings Dominion and get a volcano, you would expect a certain experience. Even if you're, a grand roller coaster person like that's gotten on a whole bunch of roller coasters, it should still give you, at least, especially for your first time, because some people, it was their first time and they didn't really think much of it. Like my brothers, I should say, like they I was hyping this ride up to them because at that time I was honestly still excited about it, and they got on it. It was like, it was okay. I was like, really? But now I can see why they said that. You basically just expect a certain amount of thrill. And if anything, I'm not saying that, the roller coaster is totally bad. Like I said, some people have gotten enjoyment out of it. But at the very least, give it a different name. It doesn't deserve the name Apocalypse. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, sorry about that. I don't know. I know I'm actually rambling at this point. But yeah, I just like I said, I was just bored, and it was just I just actually kind of just wanted to go into detail into why this ride, really it could have done a lot better. It's not completely bad. If I gave it like a rating out of 4 stars, I would give it like a 2. I would give it a 2, maybe a 1.5 if I'm being really harsh, but I'll give it a 2. Um, Cause I know that this ride, it wasn't like an original idea for our park. It actually came from another park. Um, it's all cool. I know for this season we have this new water ride called the Pipelines, where it's basically one of those water slides where you're standing and the floor underneath you lets out and fall down the slide that way. Now I've gotten on the Superman and even the Drop Zone, um, and I'm still not sure if I want to get on this ride. I mean, I'm all good. Normally, as basically my whole thing is most water rides I'm good with. It's water rides. I'm cool. I'll get on the tornado. I'll get on the water slides. It's all good. Although I will admit I haven't gotten on the Tony Hawk thing. I don't know how I feel about that. But yeah, I'm just not sure how I feel about this. I mean, and speaking of the drop zone, I'll even admit that at times that would seem scarier than Superman, simply on the basis that you're falling directly down instead of at an angle. Um, and I feel like it would be similar with this. I mean, I know you're not in like a car, and it'll still probably be at an angle, but again, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say at this point. Somebody might talk me into getting on it, maybe not. If no one talks me into it, I probably won't. I'm not gonna lie. The whole thing with getting on Superman was actually, and it wasn't even that I was forced, but it was more so I kept telling myself I was gonna do it, and then, like I said, when my friends did it, I was like, okay, I can do it. But yeah, for me, being forced into something doesn't work. Cause like I said, for years people tried to force me to get on the Superman, and I just was not gonna do it. It wasn't gonna happen at all. But yeah, this is enough of my random little video. I actually would like to hear what you guys have to say. If you've been on this ride, I would like to hear your opinions. If you've been on a ride similar, like a stand-up coaster, I want to hear your experience. And yeah, just hope you enjoyed my rambling for the night. Bye.